Welcome to the Rolled Standard. My name is Christopher, and today we are going to be reviewing Mutant Crawl Classics and talking about radiation damage. I was our judge. Yep, I was our judge. This is the Mutant Crawl Classics review. And I don't have anything for this one, so left is law.
Hello, I am Arthur Brafida, played by Levi.
And I'm the archivist.
Actually,
That's true.
Fuck. Okay, yeah. I'm Nate, and I was corduroy bean water. I'm just kidding. No, I damn it. I'm Pickled Abusey.
The artist formerly known as Corduroy.
You guys actually
Yeah,
played a lot of characters.
no, actually, you're right.
You guys were a lot of people.
I was corduroy bean water for a little second there.
That's true.
fucking
You said
hot.
his name. I feel like it's really all you. Well, you said some other stuff.
I said his name, but I think that was one of the ones that Jake actually came up with.
Either way, let's get a good whiff of that theme song.
Let's go.
Yeah, I guess I really don't know how to start this one. It's been a while. Ultimately, I guess before we even get started, I want to say thanks to all the people who voted for this to happen. If you remember, we actually remember we rolled those D20s.
Yep.
That was a decade ago.
That felt like it for
That
sure.
was like a year ago.
I in retrospect, I should have removed Mutant Crawl Classics from that list and doubled Dungeon Crawl Classics because I feel like we should have played that one in first. Just so that we get a baseline. But on the other hand, in justification of my own, or not, in justification against my own comment, we proved that you don't need to.
No.
It's standalone.
No, this is... I mean, obviously, we wouldn't know the difference.
That's fair.
But it was so fun, and I wish, like, there's part of me that wishes that we could have just went, like, from beginning to end all in one go.
Yeah.
But I also believe that there's no way things would have ended the way it did if that was the case.
No, I had time to, like, ruminate on things, kind of, like, put together things a little better. I over-prepared as usual. Hell, when you guys were crossing the plane, I had a D16 table that was all fleshed out, like, encounters, and I'm like, we're going to roll this 4 times.
Yeah, but even then,
So I quadrupled the amount of work I needed to do.
even then, on top of that, the things that you put in there that we ended up rolling for, the fact that Jake decided to be corduroy instead of torturing himself with fucking Sam
Yeah, well, yeah. That was a good, that was
made
a
the
good choice.
entire thing completely different. Like, oh my god.
No, honestly, Corduroy was fantastic. Yeah, honestly, this is a weird game.
It is so weird. It's even more funny to me because so much of it happens in one line of the show sometimes.
I felt like I was on Spy Kids 2, the Weird
What?
Island. Yeah.
I don't
Everything
know
was
what
kind of
you're talking about.
bonkers. There was dinosaurs, fucking weird creatures running
okay.
around.
Yeah, the world itself. Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I do like how like the game doesn't actually have any like concrete locations or like. Any
And then
world-
Willy
not a
Wonka's
lot of world
elevator of hell.
lore. Oh yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just like randomly writing stuff for a lot of that, and that turned out pretty good. I think, and I left a lot to explore too.
Well, I think because of its weird outside of the world openness, there's no way we could have expected things to happen either. Like if we were playing, I hate like Dungeons and Dragons or anything very similar to that. Generally speaking, the things that we would encounter and do are not really out of the realm of reality for what we'd expect to see. It's like skeletons here, and here's some orcs and goblins here, and whatever else. It's got a lot of that similar whatever. But then we're like, oh, giant grasshoppers and a fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex made out of fucking cactuses. King Kong, but with tentacles. Like, it's every time we ran into something, it was something batshit.
That's because I think the foreign nature of the setting itself.
No, exactly.
Whereas, like, if we were to play Dungeon Crawl Classics, you would have seen things like that. Like orcs and skeletons and your typical fantasy monsters.
Right.
This was probably the most, like, vivid game in my head.
Honestly, yeah. I have a lot of, like, the mental... Because we always, like, you have a mental image of every scene as we play them out and stuff and as you listen to it. And, yeah, these were all, like, I felt like we were all... I don't know if we all had a similar mental image, but I feel like they're all pretty close and they're all just full of character.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
I feel like the whole game had like a filter over it for me, like visually speaking.
Yeah.
You were talking
Like
about
everything was like color switched.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
things are just the wrong color all the time.
You were talking about Planet Namek, and I was like, oh, that's what I was thinking already without you saying it.
And I think that's due to a lot, like the actual cover of the book is so vibrant in a certain palette.
Yeah.
That things aren't the colors that you would expect them to be. That I think that already.
Well,
go
my
into-
whole image is ruined now.
The other thing to me is that's very funny is how almost all of us at the same time, except for Levi, I'm sure, saw Martha as
Moss?
literally just moss on the ground.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well,
that was fun. The AI recognition roles.
Oh man.
I translated that so weirdly. I don't know what they expect you to translate that as, but the way I did it was just like it was just no recollection that that's a sentient thing, and it wasn't even like consistent because like he talked to you Pickle all day, and then the next day he's like, I don't know this monkey. Like, there's more wrong with it than just recognition.
That's why Corduroy thought of him as just an asshole. He's like, man, this guy's just fucking, he's a prick.
he just didn't get it. Yeah, he did probably don't understand why because he's an AI. That's probably pretty.
Do we
foreign
even
to
know what
he
an
does.
AI is?
Exactly. Yeah, you guys don't even know what a book is.
It's more funny to me
So AI.
because we were in a city that was mostly all animal people.
Yeah.
So like he'd be talking to one guy one day and then just be like, where'd that guy go?
Every one of those people, yeah, AI recognition role.
Just
lot of them
insulting
failed.
the king constantly.
Yeah. Oh.
Why is there a horse in this building?
Who's this fucking horse? I like the misdirect there too. Like you guys didn't really know what to expect from him.
No.
Or from you guys never saw the queen now that I think about it.
All of that was perfect to me.
So this brings me to a question. The horse king could talk the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just chuffed at us because he didn't want to say words.
Well, I'm not-
Subverting
I'm not-
expectations, my guy.
I'm not sure if he like could talk the whole time and didn't, or if because he gave you an ability to. Nope, yeah, you can talk the whole time.
Yep.
It was just he trusted you.
Absolutely.
You know, he only spoke to so many people, I imagine. Probably like 4 people at once he ever talks to. Who knows?
It
I wouldn't
does
talk to the plebs either.
I mean, it does seem kind of douchey now that I think about it.
No,
Yeah,
I think
it
I
was.
no.
It
I think it's cool in
It's
the way
honor.
that
It's an honor thing, I'm sure.
I feel like it's.
oh, I don't talk to you.
Yeah, that does feel haughty.
I feel like it. I hate to say subverts expectations, but like for anybody that walks in there, it's like, oh, for whatever reason, this dude needs a translator, and that's this dude's job. Like there's some weird disconnect with how communication works between those people for whatever reason, and then
Maybe it's a power play.
I don't. He's the
seems like
fucking
it would
king.
be.
I think the king's just got a weird sense of humor, and he finds it funny to do weird shit like this.
Like his mental, not mental state, but like the way that he thinks and like his demeanor is very much like Dr. Manhattan, where he's always just kind of looking off into the distance. You know what I mean? He's definitely deep in thought, but he's kind of got that kind of thing going
I
on.
feel like it could also be something that easily helps him pay more attention to how somebody interacts with him or would.
Oh,
Because
hey.
we interacted very weirdly with him.
So
and
he
the
observes
snake.
you interacting before you
Yeah,
interact with
because
him.
it's a weird scenario to be in, to have to translate to somebody that not just like it's not like them not understanding your language. They do, but they can't speak to you at all.
And then Paul the snake, like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was probably telling him different things than what was being told to him. You know?
And probably backwards the same way, like telling people things that the king
Exactly.
didn't say.
Yeah. He was. There was a lot more on paper about Paul specifically. He had an agenda that the protection was for something else, not for the queen, and he didn't get it, so he freaked out.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, oh, "Fuck!" And then,
While it
and
was
then that's when the king
happening-
is like, "Nope."
Yeah,
no more."
that's while it was happening, I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
So because we went south, is there still Cortexan
No.
in the other direction?
The archivist said there wasn't, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he said that the
That's
God
right.
said
That's
there
right.
wasn't.
the alchemist. Yeah, like,
That's right. Never mind. I forgot
like
he
he's-
has like all-seeing eyes.
Yeah.
with
What
cameras.
he said was everything he said was true.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the archivist for a second.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Yeah.
I'm very curious.
Well, you are him now.
Talking about yourself now. You
So-
you should know.
So, was that bug-like creature just the body that the archivist had inhabited beforehand, or do I turn into that eventually?
Okay. Well, he was an Evox, right? And that's essentially the dragons of this game, more or less. So much that you could even use the dragon creation in Dungeon Crawl Classics, which I did to create him. I didn't even need to do because we never mechanically did anything with him.
Right.
So he's a dragon essentially, and he died, giving you his power. So you're almost like dragon blooded, you know.
Why the fuck did he pick corduroy?
He thought you were funny.
That was it?
Well, okay, so
This is like a fucking,
God can have a sense of
it's a
humor.
fucking king.
okay, think
King
about
guy
his
thing?
options. Think about his options. Martha,
What do you mean?
are you really? You think Martha is like?
She's a
Is
slut.
she
Come
ready?
on.
No,
Whoa,
stop.
whoa.
Yeah, is she
So-
ready to give up the responsibilities she has coming forward in her story to be God?
Yeah, it's like you don't hire. Ooh, this sounds bad. I can't.
The
say
woman.
this.
No,
The
you don't
pregnant
hire the
lady.
woman who's about to have a child to pay attention to everything else in the universe except for that child.
Yeah, I mean,
Like you're like, hey, give up your responsibilities as an upcoming mother to sit here and observe the knowable universe. Like,
think about it.
She
From,
could just hatch her kid and
Hatch.
be like, hey, here you go, bye, kid. You know, she could have been one of those
I
mothers.
don't
You
think
don't know.
flowers hatch.
she was
No
very
horses.
she was
The horse
very
flower.
proud of being pregnant.
she
I don't
was.
think so.
She was a happy mother.
She was seeded, okay?
Uh-huh.
She was fertilized.
Okay, Levi. Okay.
Quite the spray can on that manicorn.
So no, and think about like what happened with Corduroy too. He displayed immense psychic power.
Ah, that's true
Yeah,
too.
that's
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, showing that he's probably capable, and we determined that he was. But like the ultimate reason though is because Levi had a story going forward, right? He was a mother thing. At a certain point I was like, ooh, you're gonna take over for Paul. I like that idea, right? And that wasn't like that was ad-libbed, but it was also like it was never on paper, but it was like an idea that was like. And then when it came time, I was like, I'm pulling this one. This was a good one. And then you were left. But no, it made sense. And at the moment, I was like, ooh, this is the thing for Corduroy.
Uh-huh.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's mostly what it was.
That moment of just like,
Dude, I'm wondering what would have happened if it was Sam. Because that wouldn't have happened that
No,
way.
because
No,
he
he
would've
would have
taken
passed
no-
his life on to save him because that was his ability.
oh, he had the ability to fucking use his
so
guy.
either way, the archivist would have gone on.
So he would have not died then. Ooh, I like that a lot. That's pretty good. Okay, so what if Marcus was there instead?
Marcus to Marcus.
Well, Marcus wouldn't have gotten pregnant. We know that.
That's true.
But
That's
he would have
true.
tried to collect everybody, so.
Collect every. Oh,
He
oh.
probably
he had
would've
a lot of
stayed-
I thought there was an
issues.
apostrophe.
He probably
S
would have
there.
stayed with the archivist.
I don't know what he. Oh, he might have like a caretaker,
Yeah.
like old man. You
A
need a nurse.
collector.
Well, and then he can watch all of his little friends.
That's a
from
good
the
thing.
cameras.
So hard to say. I feel like Pickle, like your fate was sealed the moment that that you guys walked away from Paul. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was like,
sure.
okay, with I can make this work. That's how I'm gonna.
I
Work
really don't see Pickle as being the guy to do it either. You
No.
know, like he's
He's
God.
like he's a guy that goes out and does things.
yeah. That's why he went. He was just like, I'm gonna do this. I've never been outside of the village. I've never, but if this is what it takes, then I'll do it.
Mhm.
And
He did what needed to be done, and Corduroy
this-
did.
Mental image of Corduroy just finger blasting an entire planet away right now. Just destroyer god style.
He's an A. I mean, you could go south. We don't know. I mean, he could
But you
just
do
become
have-
this like this tyrant.
He's got a bit of a temper on him.
He does. That's actually true. He could actually end up being. Ooh, it's like Anakin.
He's the new big endgame boss.
Oh, if we ever come back to this, and we probably won't. But if we did, that's a badass villain.
yeah, it
You
is.
gotta take down. Oh, another group of people from the same. No, not the same village. Be nice to do more. Has to go. and,
Don't
defeat
bring
their-
it, Sam, back, please.
Oh God, no.
God.
He's probably already dead. We don't know it.
Died in his bed.
Something stupid happened. Like he drowned in his own drool. And
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
the
he just
roof had
tripped.
a leak in that one night, and he slept with his mouth open.
I was just gonna say, like, he's walking through the middle of the village, he trips on a rock, and it just like
Snaps his neck.
snaps his neck.
God.
Just tumbles down the hill.
His human face can't handle the force of his cow body. Now that
Oh
he-
fuck! I forgot about that.
yes, you're horrible.
He was an ugly dude.
You're also the dude that made Corduroy have one giant weird
Stumpy leg.
stump and then also a little
Yeah.
pointer.
That was you. Yep.
Well, he's God now.
That's true. Can you imagine?
People to come see the archivist after
Hey,
that
change
would
all
be
those paintings.
more horrible.
Yeah, he's just like that. Oh man, he's in control of that negative space now.
Yikes.
Because like where he exists isn't really where it is. You know what I mean? Like you guys went in there, or in the top of the tower, and then you came out under a tree. Like it's somewhere else. What's so funny?
The idea of him just opening up like a small door and be like, "Hey, come over here."
It's just like a little knot hole in a tree.
Yeah.
Or
I got a
just like
mission for you,
someone's
kid.
oven.
Yeah, one of those windows that the king is always looking out of, like, "Psst, hey, pickle."
Oh, hey, that's really good.
That's funny.
That would be pretty good.
I got a quest for you. Come here, kid.
Oh no.
It's just his mouth.
no.
Hey, kid, come here. You ever have a quest before?
Oh God.
Firstly, I love the game. It's very fun and very
Yes.
weird. And it makes sense that they don't expect you to go very far. Honestly, like your journey is one that is kind of, I don't know, I kind of think about it in almost mothership terms, where they're like, "Hey, by the way, fucking 4 is pretty good if you make it 4 sessions or whatever."
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
only feel that way just because of the funnel, I guess.
Yeah, the funnel is meant to weed you out, but
Yeah.
after that, there is survivability. And
But-
you guys survived pretty much everything. Hell, you even survived a 300-foot drop with a boulder. That was
The
that-
defects.
I shouldn't. To be fair, there's a lot of things in this game that I allowed as a GM that I fucking shouldn't have. That was one of them. The other one was when you brought him back to life in the cave with your finger.
Oh, come
There's
on.
no way I should have allowed that nonsense. Because that's not even how the thing works. But I liked it so much. I mean, that's the thing is I'm always a fan
The
of the players
rule of
first.
cool.
The
I'm a
game.
good
Yeah,
lawyer.
yeah. That's true too.
Yeah, you're very convincing when you need to be.
Uh-huh.
He's like he just well aware.
Gotta be good at something.
Is there anything mechanically you want to talk about this?
Yes, I fucking love the way the mutations work.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I know that like in Dungeon Crawl Classic, that's how spells work.
Ooh.
I'm glad I got stuck with Martha because having all those terrible, terrible things on Marcus DeMarcus III would have ruined this play for me.
You may be right. Yeah, that's for sure. It would have been very weird, but honestly, Martha, when you picked Martha, you picked the right character.
I know.
Of your retinue.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not mechanics aside,
Yeah.
but that's very cool to think about, though. Spells
Yeah,
being very much
I,
like
I
how
believe
those
they
work.
work the exact same
That
way.
makes
And that's
sense to
why the
me.
book's so big.
I mean,
the
if we
spells
could-
are like a couple pages each.
If we could pick the spells instead of randomly rolling on tables like we do,
Levi, that's not very rolled standard.
No,
I know,
no,
I
not
know.
at all.
It was it'd be
Heretic.
Blasphemy!
This-
Heresy!
You're on the wrong podcast.
My ball!
I was on the whole.
One?
My hole!
I was just clapping my hands, man. Ow, my hands.
I think about that,
This would be a totally different game if we could pick the spells and all that stuff.
I
but
agree.
even then, if we could have rolled well for
Oh
the
my-
mutations that we
100%.
had.
That's
Jake?
a thing too.
Well, actually, technically, you got very lucky with Corduroy Beanwater.
Yeah.
You originally rolled.
Yeah,
it.
Corduroy was powerful. He had lots of.
We
cool
didn't even
stuff.
think about how powerful he
Surprisingly.
was, really.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
Yeah, that's why you picked him. I mean,
Well, we didn't have the abilities when we decided we were going to go into it. Like, I think he's not the guy. He's not even the guy that I picked to go down into the basement or whatever, back
No.
down to check everything out. So I wouldn't have known those things anyway.
who was your other guy?
Noise poison, and
Oh,
he's the
yeah.
dude that just had my voice.
Oh yeah, he was a human.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's a
He
normal
was a
guy.
Pure strain.
Jake murdered all his characters other than Itsan.
I didn't. Murder's a heavy word.
Oh yeah, so for an arc called radiation damage, nobody took any radiation damage.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well,
That's all right.
I think of it more as like this is the world after the radiation.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Radiation damage, like the world is radiation damage.
Why else would there be living moss
Yeah.
with a bark carapace?
It's got
you know,
rad in
with,
the name. Come on.
Forgot about
with
that part.
butterfly wings.
That's the main thing. It just
Yeah.
rad damage.
It was a rad game.
It was
rad
rad.
name.
Rad game, rad name.
So, like, if I rolled super, super well with Corduroy, or with Pickle in, wait,
I'm so disappointed that your strength.
That's the
was
one,
not
right?
You
Oh,
just had show muscle, but you had no actual power with it.
Nothing
That would have
at
been so.
all.
Good. I think it would have been like just boosted your stats.
Yeah,
But still,
by
that
a
would have been
lot,
useful.
actually.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Also, this is the first time I've ever run a funnel, and I made the mistake of writing a funnel before ever running one, which is not really a mistake. It just, it
Sure.
was what it was. And yeah, that was actually pretty cool. And the only reason too that like you guys couldn't speak, culturally, right, is because I'm like, man, it would be very hard for you guys to each play 4 characters at one time.
Thank you for that.
I thought about that. I was like, because like I was like, well, we can never do a funnel because running multiple characters each is kind of impossible.
Oh.
But I was like, what if that's the case? So they just can't talk.
You kind of needed it because like, how would we would have to be very on point with 4 very different voices so that just the listener could understand who is being who.
This isn't the medium for that.
No,
you know what I mean?
not at all.
It just wouldn't have worked. However, I think what we did do, which seemed culturally cruel. I look back at it and I'm like, that seems like a really cruel cultural like
That's just
custom.
That's just the way
It's
it
a
is.
rite of passage in a cruel world.
It is a cruel world.
They
mean,
could
that's fair.
sign language though.
They had like
They
they
knew
weren't
how to
like
talk.
I don't know if that was sign language.
It was some sort of language because
Well,
it happened.
they did have nonverbal communication,
Yes.
obviously, because you guys did it all the time.
Jake had nonverbal communication.
You know,
It's like I beat on my chest and then I nod twice and then I pump my fists in the air.
Like a Tusken Raider.
Yeah, I'm like what is happening right now?
No, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, you guys definitely adapted. I was like, how are you guys gonna handle this? You guys nailed it.
I like how Jake's eyes turn completely white and then he speaks in somebody else's voice when he decides that he's doing something sometimes.
wait, what?
Like he improvises a nonstop flow of insanity sometimes, and I don't know what's. I'm like, how do I stop? I need to catch up.
The whole like jumping off the grasshopper at the very top of its apex and then mind control.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
swooping down moths.
Oh my
Just in
God.
one very Tom Cruise moment.
I'm a planner, baby.
I
I got plans.
I don't know if any of that was planned.
I don't know why.
On the
I don't
spot,
know why
maybe.
I see like this Power Man style, like arms behind him,
Oh, yeah.
fucking.
Because he's
Leap.
just that confident. He's just staring.
Part of me just like pictures Tom Cruise hanging on the side of the plane. That just all fits pretty well.
So is glow burn something from the original game, or is it only part of this?
It's only part of Mutant Crawl Classics. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite certain because it's part of the whole, mutation, the radiations and stuff.
Okay, yeah, because I think that is wild and nice to have.
I do believe though that DCC still has the look, and there might be something else similar to Global.
I was
I
gonna
don't
say
really know.
something with a different name.
Yeah,
Because it feels like if
Stress
you're
burn.
using
maybe.
pools or whatever, there's got to be a way to. Maybe I don't know. Fuck, I don't know.
I don't know.
I never
I-
looked
I-
into
It's
it.
probably the same thing. We got to play it then.
we do
That's
need
it.
to play it at
We
some
got-
point, and I have a perfect plan for it. And I'm not gonna run it.
Hell yeah!
Ooh, baby.
Yep, you're out there, you know it.
You.
We've already talked about it.
You're listening, and we know you are.
Yep,
I would
and we
love.
thank you for it.
I would
I-
love to make it to a point where we had some weapons that weren't clubs
stick?
or spears.
It's a primitive.
Yeah.
What
it's
do
a-
you mean?
It's a primitive world.
Right, but that guy had a laser
gotta use your
cannon in his
fingers
hand.
more.
and
There's
I
that
was
stuff too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That's the other thing too. Is there was a decent amount of that stuff planted that I put in there that you guys never
We just
found.
walked right by.
Oh yeah, so like,
well, like think about it.
plenty of times. Okay, so that cargo. Remember that cargo drone, that the bot that was rolling down? That thing was loaded with shit.
Fucking do it.
The
on
guy-
the hover platform?
No, not that one.
Oh.
Not that early.
Because Levi
At
wants
the
to
end.
skip all the cool stuff.
That was you.
That was you. Yeah,
It
that
was
was
us
you.
on the moth.
That was a smart choice though. You guys were flying, and that was like way better.
because I was
Yeah,
given
so-
the decision. I knew no one wanted to go down there.
Of
Because
course
we
not.
were gonna die.
If you guys would have gone to other inns in the city, you would have come to a place called I think it was the Monkey Hole, or no,
Yeah.
was that it? It was the fighting
The
pit.
ape hole?
No, it was the chimp hole.
Chimp hole.
That's what it was. That was a fighting pit, and you could have won some
Wish we
weapons
had
for
ended
that.
up there.
Oh,
That would have been sweet.
I would have
that'd
finger
have been
banged my
a
way
cool
through everyone,
episode.
right to the
or
top.
You probably
two.
would've.
Glad we didn't.
There was also like the pig pen, which was a super clean place run by a pig dude.
And
Oh,
like
that's
that.
funny.
Yeah, it was just subverted expectations.
Yeah.
No, and there was the other place was pretty much like a hostel, but it was like overcrowded. And then there would have been a little mini quest, little side quest, to determine like, hey, do you need help moving these people somewhere? And I thought like you guys had been somewhere vacant that would have been a perfect place for it, which was the Adobe Village on the side of the mountain.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, that's kind of a stretch for me just to mention one problem, and then you guys come up with that result. I mean, it's a possibility,
Sure.
but like I was like, oh, they might not even come up with that. But like, well, we'll see what happens. You didn't go there anyway. That's fine. Again, I'm over prepared for just about everything,
And then
Better
we
than
moth
or
bombed
not
an
even
area.
remotely prepared. What's that?
We moth bombed an area.
Yeah, okay. So that was the Glaskin camp. Those guys, the Glaskin are pretty much little dudes. They're like a few feet tall people, but they're pretty aggressive and angry.
Oh, okay, good.
So it's
I'm
almost
glad
like
we did.
gnomes, you know. There was like a camp of them, and they had laser weapons and shit. Yeah, they had shit. There was other things too, but yeah, a lot of times you just didn't find things. That's fine. There was also like the ants. Remember the ant people and the moles?
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah, I got one of their legs.
Yeah, you do.
Still.
The moles had the ant queen's head on an altar, and then they had like a weapon on the altar as well. They didn't know what it was, so they just like shiny metal thing we found that they had.
Yeah.
And then so they had like that's why the war was happening because they had the queen's head.
Backstory.
Yeah, there was reasons for things. The elevator, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That was essentially a grid that you guys were rolling on,
Oh my god.
and then the doctor that you guys were looking for, Dr. He's in there as well. He's in one of the cells.
Oh shit.
But you never found him, so like his reality changed because you guys could have found him and got some. I don't really know what would have happened then.
Right, sure.
We would have found out, but yeah, and that whole thing was sort of random. Some of those things there was like security rooms and there was a lot of little secrets to find in there. And then I thought like this goes beyond the grid as well because the grid is essentially just the map.
I fucking knew
Sure.
it. We stole the keys to some fucking chocolate factory guy's goddamn
Kind of.
car or some shit.
Pretty much. And then when you like whipped it, that's when I was like, okay, you guys are going beyond the grid, you know.
Gotcha.
Here's
Yeah.
something as a question then, because it's hard for me to think of anything that might qualify. But are there any mechanics that weren't fun to do for you guys?
Let me look at my sheet.
No,
quick.
I love rolling dice.
Every mechanic that I'm like, oh, this is kind of a rough one, I think like, well, this has legitimately good reason. Like the artifact checks.
Yes,
the
I
max
was
tech
thinking of
levels.
that one. Yeah.
Like we didn't do a lot of those, but that's because they didn't. Like I said, you didn't find things.
Yeah.
You know, I should have maybe like fed them a little bit more. You know what I mean? To you guys, which would have helped. But
Oh, we were so bad. We were so bad in that world anyway that we.
It made
couldn't-
sense that you guys didn't find shit.
I
But
was
yeah,
just
you
gonna
guys
say-
could have totally got that dude's gun. Like he was gonna give it to you guys before he went down the mountain, but instead you guys blew him up.
Not you guys.
You guys?
Okay,
You
so
guys.
Jake. No.
my
That
buddy.
scene too. I realized that I maybe should have made a roll for him destroying the destroyer
Maybe.
because it was just like so knee jerk, and then I was like, fuck. Like that should have been a roll, because that would have changed things. You know, it would have been more legitimate rather than like a scripted. It wasn't that it wasn't scripted. It was just like a GM decision that maybe should have been a roll.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because I don't like to railroad. I don't like to.
At the same time, you solved a problem for us.
What problem?
The future of that problem.
You were not going to roll well enough.
That's
for
a
that
fair
eventually.
point. That's a
You
fair
know.
point. Like you would have eventually had to fight it probably, unless you destroyed it yourself. Like Ghost ride the whip off the fucking cliff.
It's
you know what I mean?
it's so devastating though. It's
brutal.
actually very strong.
That thing would have
and
killed at least one of you.
I had 5 HP.
I was gonna say that was at the end of it. I think you started with
3.
3. So you leveled up twice and got,
I got one each time.
Both times.
Yeah.
That's
One hit could. That's why I think Martha's journey is impressive because my HP at the end of it was 14, and I rolled bad like once.
Yeah, that's true.
So it was easier for me to survive by a large margin, and Martha making the decision to like hide all the time. Do it. Just hide. It makes sense to do it.
I think the only thing I hated was the AI recognition.
You didn't have a choice. That
I
was the
know,
game.
I know.
Okay,
That's
okay, that
true.
makes sense
I
then.
hated
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that makes sense.
Um,
That's definitely the downside of
He
playing.
so
Clash of
wanted to be a part of the
I did.
conversation.
I know.
it made it even more funny though
Or like
to
a
me,
child.
where you're
So
just
often I
like
forgot.
pissed the whole time that he won't listen to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so that is the definite downside of playing a planchette.
Yes.
Is that AI will not have anything to do with you.
And then the 50-50 shot for any manimal.
It could be
It's
beneficial.
not quite 50-50. I mean, it's a
a roll
it's
minus
a roll. Yeah,
-3 or -4.
I can't remember.
But
yeah.
on top of that, it could be a huge positive in a story that you end up being.
like if you were gonna infiltrate,
Yeah.
like a place
Yeah, you're literally
protected
just
by
a
like
bush.
security
It's
box,
like
you're just
singing in the
yeah,
rain.
for real. Yeah.
Just a bush rolling through.
Yep.
Boy, those birds sound like people.
Yeah, so there's a situation where that would have been good.
Bird.
But
Except for at the end where you had some kind of hybrid growing in the middle of you, and they'd be like,
yeah. Oh man, do you realize that you were a planchette manimal? Like you were a planchette host to a manimal like not virus. Children are-
Virus? Oh, God.
What am I thinking of?
It'd be called a planchiminomal.
I don't like
A
that.
planimal.
Yeah.
No, yeah, my plan for that too. I had a timer. It was a day timer.
A timer.
Yeah, it was 4 days, and then they would bloom, and they would have like horse heads.
Yuck. Just the flowers themselves?
Yeah,
Oh.
that would have been cool.
yeah. I don't know what they would have sounded like or anything like, but yeah, we didn't get 4 days in after that happened. So.
Dang, that would have been terrible.
Yeah, they're just terrifying. Kill me! Why does it sound like that? There's something wrong with them.
Life is pain.
Yeah, they're just in extreme pain. Oh god, it was just terrifying. If you love me, kill me. You thought it Sam was bad.
Oh my god.
We'll just keep coming back. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Forever and ever.
they're like dandelions. The way they
Yeah.
spread themselves amongst your
Oh,
moss.
dude, that's the new infection for the whole world.
Just
Everyone's
horse-headed.
growing horse-headed daisies.
Oh my god.
No, it's just like
across the world.
it's a new breed of plant that ends up everywhere. It's just like, oh, yep, it's just those really
it can
loud
thrive
horse
on anything.
flowers.
Yeah.
The screaming horse flowers.
That's the COVID equivalent.
Hot take.
Eh, cut that
Well,
out.
Yeah, cut it
torch
out.
this whole episode.
It is a review. No, I'm just kidding. No. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed Mutant Crawl Classics. I would be more than stoked to play DCC.
I like how in all the things that we've played, this one is top on the list for like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's another thing. Is it was very, it was just bizarre as far as what we ran into, the world itself.
It's definitely the most unique thing that we've sat down to play.
Like bug people,
yeah.
like mutant people, like giant robots.
Right
like,
away.
all of this at once.
Yeah, right away having mutants, manimals, planchants, and just pure strain humans. The likelihood that you're going to be even close to normal in any way is very low.
Yeah, that's true.
So you could just be insane off the bat. Like, oh, I'm a 6-armed monkey man with like 4 eyes on the back of my head and whatever else. And
It's true.
That's apparently normal here.
That's true. I mean, and there may have been some things that we didn't do correctly, but we don't even really know.
Come on.
You look back and,
And
it's
we
like,
won't.
did it feel like it was wrong? Nope.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I feel
may
like-
have omitted things. We may have we're supposed to roll on some certain tables occasionally when we didn't. Meh, whatever.
But even then, we do a lot of things with walking into a game for the first time in mind.
That's true.
You know,
Yep. I mean, I researched them for a while
Right,
beforehand
right.
to make sure that we got it right. But
But
and
to sit
even
down-
if it's a lot of stuff, like this game has a decent amount of
it's a
like
big book.
tables and whatnot. It can be daunting, and we'll definitely forget things.
Yeah.
But obviously, if it's a game that like Next, for example, we're playing Seibert.
Yeah, that's a
right
different
with our trigger warning arc. Yeah, see, we're very familiar with Merc Borg and just the way that game plays. That all the new additions to Seibert won't be as hard to retain.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah,
Everything's hard for me to retain.
that's okay, man. We're a group.
Yep. That's why we're here.
Is there anything you had to specifically create mechanically for this game? Do you recall?
Oh, like a straight up new mechanic to
Yeah.
make something happen? Not particularly, no. I mean, I created. I feel like I did do something. Oh, the only thing I ever really created like on the fly like that was just not on the fly, but like that was planned was like tables for encounters.
Oh, okay.
But actually, I have some modules for MCC, and I was reading them and looking at the way that they do it, the way that the adventures are written, and I kind of modeled it after that, where I give you scripted paragraphs and then some descriptions.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
I base it all off, and I try to do that with most of the games that we play, where when I create the story, I try to write them in the way that they're intended to be written for that game.
Yeah. I got
know?
you.
Like I wouldn't write a Merc Borg style adventure for this game.
Oh,
just
okay,
because
yeah.
I mean, just in the way that I would write a Merc Borg adventure.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, so no, not really. I didn't really have to make anything. Most things were there, and actually, there was a time when I almost did have to because I was like, "Ooh, how are we going to set up a set of rolls to determine if Corduroy survives a boulder?"
Oh yeah.
Right? And then I looked in the book. I'm like, "Nope, this is already set."
Oh
So-
my.
Oh, that
gosh.
moment though. I got to be the one who's like, I knew it because, like, I turned to Jacob like, use your bad luck for good, and rolling under 5.
That was
Obviously, it's not that.
you literally had a 20% chance.
Yeah, you know the statistics easy, but that changed everything. That moment was just like,
Yep.
here he goes. He's off to go do some of the most batshit shit that he's done yet. I don't know what we would have done in a world where he didn't survive.
He
would have
would
rolled
not
up
have
a new
gotten that
character.
bad. We wouldn't have gotten that far. We probably wouldn't have made it.
I don't honestly know because he would have rolled up a new character. He would have been of the same level as you guys. He would have been. Who knows what he would have been?
Are the grasshoppers hostile?
Potentially.
Okay.
Not necessarily. Same way
Oh.
that like a field of cows would be.
For me, being
they really
a
weren't.
planchen,
They're a herd creature.
Think about the
If
role.
they're hungry, maybe, but you're also moving. Like,
They would probably like
They probably
realize.
realize that
they're more scared of
also-
us than we are of them.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
They seemed more like cows.
They were.
It's
They
just
were. They're a
cattle.
herd animal. It's almost like horses, like wild horses. That's
Not,
the best way
not
to put
everything has a murderous intent.
But think about it, dude.
surprisingly,
it. But if I'm running it,
Without you and the very specific ability to control minds,
and being able to get the rolls.
yeah, but without that ability at all, without having the option to do so, every other encounter we had on our way to the Archivist was hostile and hard to avoid.
yeah.
Like-
Well, I mean, the cargo bot, like that, you probably could have just ignored it. It had some security, but like you could have ignored it.
Fair enough.
And they would have ignored you. The Glaskin probably would not have ignored you.
Yeah. And then there's zombies in the middle of the city that we
That's
avoided
right.
as
Yep,
well.
Yep, those,
Oh my
those,
God.
A lot of
Holy
them.
shit.
A lot of those. Yeah.
All of them.
So
Actually, that's why I was so like going along with like you guys trying to do all these things to avoid it. I was like, yeah, let's avoid that. Like, let's just avoid running that scenario.
That was some I Am Legend stuff going through.
Oh,
there.
Yeah,
God,
that's
yeah.
kind of what I was
Hell yeah, it
picturing
was.
too. It was like ruined city, a lot of like
Moving so fast that they can't touch you, but you can kind of see where they're at.
yeah. Like if you're running through a street of like sparsely populated zombies, you'd probably be fine if you're running. You know.
And realize that you're slowly getting to a point where if you break down, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess that would have been like how we went about everything. Obviously, we just have to keep moving forward. But we found, by happenstance, by the roles that we got and everything that you did, because we were just kind of bystanders for a lot of that end point, which is perfectly fine for me. But
He
I
was
mean,
the Jesus.
This was
Think about
Jake's
the-
campaign.
kind of,
Corduroys.
Yeah.
yeah.
How's it, Sam, for a while?
Sometimes everybody's just got their like. You had it with Lycoma. It was like
Oh, absolutely.
very
That was
much
Border
your story, and it was hilarious because Jake and his character was like, "This isn't my story." He's like standing, putting his hand up against the window, looking out at the fire pensively.
Everyone thought I was gonna fucking jump.
That was so
He's
good.
like, "Does
dude.
this
I don't
open?"
know.
I'm like, "Come on!" And he's just making the most insane demands.
We have to fucking review that yet.
Yeah, I know. I want to do it. Yeah.
We'll do it at some point.
Yep. Sorry for not putting it.
We
where it feels
intend
like
on
it needs
playing
to
it
be.
again
Sorry,
at some point. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then we were gonna. Also, I did want to wait until we were holding the box and we can talk
Yeah,
about
talk
punching
about it visually as well.
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
I
that's a
remember you
big part
saying
of
that
that.
too.
Ooh,
because
nice
it is
box.
it is
Exactly. It is nice.
from what we've seen in digital form, it is very beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this this game, it's hard to describe how well it feels everything works.
Yeah.
It makes sense if you're going to base it on another game, like build a book that's this goddamn big based on the mechanics of another game. It's gonna be solid, I'm sure. You know?
Yeah. DCC is solid, so MCC is, also solid. Because
Right.
it's based on that same structure.
There's a lot of love that went into it.
I feel like it.
Yeah, Goodman Games makes pretty decent stuff.
When it comes to the
It was well tested before being published.
Oh yeah. I see where you're going with that. Yeah. No, that's true. I mean, I'm damn certain that they tested.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Just in the mutations and all that stuff, it's very specific about how you have to think for a long time about, okay, this roll to this roll, 18 to 19. Okay, it's got to be incrementally bigger, but also not imposing on the fact that there's going to be 10 more levels of this that we have to accommodate for.
Right.
Like just temporary invulnerability. One where it's just like, okay, you don't take damage for this amount of time. You only take this much damage for this amount of time, up to the point where it's like you can survive a meteor strike in the middle of the planet and walk away from it. That is something that you have to do for how many mutations? an insane amount of
A
mutations.
lot of them, yeah.
So yeah, Levi's saying a lot of love and time and care went into it. That makes sense.
They poured over those tables.
That is.
So
it's easy to love something that loves itself.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's
yeah,
why I think Merc Borg is so fond to us, because it takes itself seriously.
But also it doesn't even remotely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at the same time.
It's easy to love.
So the big question then, of course, as always, is does this game meet the rolled standard for you?
100%.
Oh, I had fun.
Are you going to be the Levi now where you don't actually say?
I enjoyed it.
God damn it. Yes, it meets the rolled standard. Absolutely. As for me, of course, it's...
It meets my rolled standard too. You can just slip that into the back there, just fucking move it around, do your little.
I don't want to slip
That's what
any of
she
your
said.
stuff
That's
in.
my one. And yes, this game meets the rolled standard. We'll see you next time for Cyborg. Trigger warning. Don't sniff glue. Go to bed.
Yeah, and then put that music right here. Little fucking teaser.
Go to bed.
Hey, Jake here, back again at the end of the episode to let you know that Patreon's changed a little bit.
It hasn't changed at all, motherfucker.
Well, actually, it has. We have 2 new names,
That's
and we
what-
promised like a month ago we were going to change this up.
It's true, but we're actually still here to give you the good old Patreon information that we got to peddle at the end of the episode.
Well, I got to keep
here.
the lights on somehow.
Starting off, as always, we got the $3 Paul tier, which is general Discord access and knowing that you support us. That's the main thing. Also, I do want to make it clear that that's like a one-time
Yeah, once
thing.
you're in, baby.
It's a one-time thing. If you just want to pay that $3 once and then be part of the Discord and enjoy the community and whatever else, that's absolutely fine.
It's cute. We share recipes and talk about, our families and stuff.
Life and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
The little community we have there is actually really great.
It's very wholesome.
And just as vulgar as we are. Of course, then afterwards is the $5 Standard Bearer tier, which gives you that as well, plus bonus episodes that we try our best to put out as frequently as we can. We'd like to be doing that a lot more. Of course, we're a bunch of guys that just work normal jobs. So we appreciate everybody's
Support and love and kindness and
understanding.
understanding, motivations. You're all like dads and moms, just caring.
And then the last one we have here is the $10 DPIC agent tier, which is all of those things, of course, plus behind-the-scenes content and NPC naming and a Patreon shout-out, which we're going to get to
Today, right now.
right now. There's a couple of people that definitely deserve it. What are those people, Jacob?
Well, my good friend Nathan, let me tell you, those people are the Freshman, Baz, Alaskos, Kevin Welch, Harbles Barkley, and Jack Benokin.
Thank you all for your support. Thank you for being part of it. We love having you guys around. And the last thing, anybody who does pay that $10 tier and has an NPC to make and hasn't done it yet, get a hold of us. Let us know.
Yeah, we're forgetful men.
Yeah.
You got to help us out here.
Thank you guys for everything. Remember, if you can, rate us and review us anywhere that you listen to the show. Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever else. Hey man, I don't know where. There's 1,000 different places that you can find the show. If you can rate or review us there, please do it.
AOL.com or
Yeah,
whatever.
MSN
Fucking
Messenger.
yeah. Hit me up on MySpace, actually. I got a sweet layout. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the show.
Thanks everybody,
Adios, brochachos.
and don't sniff glue.